Hi, welcome to the channel where we provide an alternative view to the common narrative. Today I would like to talk about the US economy and the US job numbers. And according to the statistics made available by the US government, about 517,000 jobs were created in January alone. Now, if you believe this, then I wouldn't suggest listening further. But if you have your doubt, I would suggest you further watch this video. Welcome back to the channel. As I said in the introduction, the US government made the statistics available that about 517,000 jobs were created in January alone. So according to every financial pundit right across the world, they're all up in excitement. American economy is going well. These numbers are much higher than everybody expected. And hey, Ankidori, we're going to buy the dollar. And I saw that basically in our exchange rate between South Africa and the US dollar. So the South African rand weakened a little bit. But I don't understand. We have these highly professional people. I'm not an expert in economy. I'm not an expert on the US economy or American economy or anything like that. I just listen to the experts. And they say this is bullshit. In fact, according to some of the commentators, America lost 2.5 million jobs last month. Now that's a huge amount. But before we even start about this whole story, let me explain it to you very carefully. I've been watching these economic statistics being made available by the US government for years. Since actually 2008. Not that I always know what they are meaning. I put no pretension on that. I do not claim anything like that. But in 2008, we had the economic housing bubble in America, and there was a huge crash, and that resulted in huge losses for a lot of people, pension funds, banks, you name it. It was chaos. And instead of letting the crash happen, as was supposed to happen, the US government intervened, not the Reserve Bank. I just want to say, I don't know who's Treasury, I don't know who's the Reserve Bank, I don't know who's the other body, what all their functions are. The Reserve Bank is the Reserve Bank. The Treasury, I'm not totally sure. And there's another body in America. I always get confused between what is what and what function they do and so. But in any case, the bottom line is the Reserve Bank of America decided to do quantitative easing. And after a while, the Europeans and the Japanese did something similar. And basically what they did is they made a lot of money available and they kicked the can, the inevitable collapse and the financial problems, the so-called can down the road. And I've been expecting that the end is nearing the road is ending, reaching its end. So they couldn't be kicked down the line. Then every time the financial experts, the Reserve Bank, find some or other means of, again, boosting the economy, the numbers, and boosting share prices and printing more money, and they extended the road. Is when the road reaches the end, then these guys have the capability somehow to just extend the road. So there we go again for a while. Then we reach that end of the road, and they get some plan in action, and there, it is elongated, and the can is kicked down further. And according to all statistics, there should be a stock market crash every 10 years, but we are way past that. We are now in our 14th, 15th year. Yeah. And the economy is still going. The American economy hasn't crashed yet. Why is that? Why everybody that knows, that can read the statistics, and please remember, read the statistics, not the news articles. The news articles is propaganda and the lies. They just repeat what the government says. Go read the statistics like shadow statistics and stuff like that, and alternative economists and so on. Not CNN and Bloomberg, they all talk bullshit. They tell the line and talk the narrative. But in any case, through all these years, I've been watching a story, and I looked at these employment figures. Now, there are apparently 3 types of employment figures, but I'm not going to go into detail. The first one is quoted by the government, but the first one is some suck. I still remember those things, and before COVID, America created jobs, 250,000 people employed, jobs created that month. And then you read the article, and then these experts analyze the 250, and then you find out that only 17,000 have been counted. The rest of them have been estimated based on a certain formula that cannot be really verified. So out of this 250, 233,000 jobs were some stuck. That is the job numbers out of the US. But and then they make it available, then they revise it when they get the right figures, and that takes about 3 to 4 weeks or so. And then the real numbers are made available, and these are much lower, but that is never reported. They revise the true revised job numbers, which is also not totally true, because they exclude a lot of things. It's like the American economy. What's the definition of a recession? 2 consecutive negative growth quarters. That happened last year, I think. But the American government said, no, there's no recession. That's a wrong decision. Here's our data that proves that people are buying more and people are getting more jobs and so on. Oh, this is not a recession. So they changed the definition of a recession. So if America now says they are not in a recession, they are lying, because they are in a recession, but they just deny it. So the longer you accuse them of being in a recession, the harder they will deny it. But we all know it's true. But you got these suckers, these experts right across the world that are like dumb sheep that always run back to the dollar. Stupid people, idiots. Yeah, my definition of idiots, not stupid. And then you got these ridiculous, like I said, job numbers. And remember, at that time, the economy was supposed to be growing, in 250,000 jobs created per month. At that time, was a very, very high number. Very, very high number. And now, what do we get for January? Double that amount. More than double that in 1 month. So surely these American statistics are sucking the numbers out of their thumbs. Who can have any credibility of that? Just by doubling what was the norm, which was already high, now to, that's bullshitting. If you can't see that, then I'm sorry, I can't help you. But what makes it even worse is that for the last 3-4 months, you have been reading in the news, Google is laying off people, Facebook is laying off people, PayPal is doing it, Twitter is doing it, all the tech companies, the prime companies are laying off people. Not by hundreds, by the thousands. And you get every day you get articles. There's one website that gives you the statistics, who's hiring and who's firing. It gives you company names with all the people that are fired, and gives the company names with all the people that are actually hiring. And the list of hiring is this long, and the list of, I can't even show you. Make it like that. Well, it's not even on the screen, but it's vertical. 3-4 times longer. And this guy actually peruses the newspaper every day. That is proper statistics. Not this American bullshit. So the question is, how long is the financial boffins in other countries still gonna trust the American economy? They trust the just remember, the whole value of the dollar is based on trust. It's a piece of paper that is trusted as a piece of value, but they are lying through their necks and so about this whole story, and you should know about that, but you still refuse to see it, and you still buy the dollars. You still invest in dollars. How can that be? I remember, it's like when you run a company, you have expenses. Say you have to do repairs. Now that repair cost is an overhead. It doesn't generate income. An overhead. It's an administrative fee. In America, jails are considered as enterprises, not as an expense, not as an administrative expense, but as an enterprise, an accounted part of their GDP. That's how they work. And they have similar other ventures as well. In other countries, those are called expenditures. Those are not called as part of GDP. When a company, say Ford, who has a factory here in South Africa, produces, say, 1,000 cars, and it sells that. Now that sale is actually part, because it was produced in South Africa, it is part of the GDP of South Africa. But the Americans don't do it like that. Because it's an American company, the manufacturing done by Ford in South Africa is part of the GDP or the income turnover of Ford in America, and therefore it is part of the American GDP. That is how they calculate the story. Every time you pay something with $1, it has to go through a dollar bank, American bank, because they control it. And then they swap it over either to a euro or whatever you want to buy it and so on. And that is called business, and that is part of the GDP. And we all know how big the financial effort or actions are by the American banks. And it's all counted as GDP, but it's all fake. It's not realistic like producing a car and then selling it. Then you make a profit. It's like skimming off the top, fudging the numbers. Like an excellent accountant who manipulates a book for the tax purposes and so on. It's the same what's happening in America. So I'm sorry, if I have to believe 517,000 jobs created, according to the government, versus other statistics that show me that America has lost 2.5 million jobs in January, and if I read all the other stories about how the IT companies are laying off people. And just remember, it was the IT companies that were keeping up the Dow Jones and the S&P 500. It was the tech companies that arose in share prices that kept up the stock exchange numbers. And who do you think I believe? Yes. 517,000 jobs are created in America. Anyways, that's my story for today. I still have to laugh on this. The goal of these guys to make such an announcement. So, if you haven't subscribed, tell your friend. If you haven't, let's grow the channel, press the like button, and until next time, cheers.